Hello folks, and welcome to the first in a series of colour correction tutorials in Adobe Premiere Pro. Before we get started, I'd like to define some basic colour correction terminologies. The first is the difference between colour correction and colour grading. Colour correction is when you're using colour correction tools to correct an image that might be poorly shot or is not looking the way that you want. In this case, we have a shot that's a little grey in its tonal range. We would use colour correction tools to try and correct the flaw in the shot and increase the black and shadow levels. Colour grading, on the other hand, is where you've got a shot that looks good already, but you're actively adjusting it in order to create a certain look or tone that you have in mind for your work. In this case, adding a blue tint to the footage. Our first job when it comes to colour work in Premiere Pro is to get the workspace organised so that it suits our colour correction needs and enables a more consistent workflow. Go to Window, Workspace, and choose Colour Correction. This will realign the monitor workspace for you, like so. The main difference now is that we've got this reference monitor window on the bottom right of the screen, and this will work as our guide when we're doing our colour correction and colour grading work. If it hasn't been selected already, I'd recommend clicking on this drop-down menu here and choosing Gang to Program Monitor. This means that as you move up and down the timeline to different clips, the clip that's under the time marker will always be the one shown in the reference monitor. Or if you prefer, you can Gang to Program Monitor by clicking on this tab here. Now there are a number of different reference monitors you can work with when you're doing your colour work. And in this tutorial, we'll begin by looking at the YC Waveform Monitor. Go to the Reference Monitors drop-down menu and select YC Waveform Monitor. The Y stands for Luma, which is the technical term for your brightness, and the C stands for Chroma, which is your colour. At present, we don't want to make any colour adjustments, so if the Chroma tab is selected here, deselect it. The blue element refers to the colour in the image, so we want that off in order that we can concentrate on the tonal brightness range only. The YC Waveform Monitor can seem like a bit of a mystery at first to those who are looking at it for the first time, but it's fairly simple to get the hang of when adjusting the tonal range and brightness of your image. We'll use this example of a simple doorway to help us understand how the Waveform Monitor has read the tonal range of this image. The tonal range of an image goes from black to white, or to use a more technical term, it goes from shadows to highlights. This top line here represents the highlights and whites of the image, and the bottom line here represents the shadows and blacks of an image. Anything in between is the grey, gamma, or mid-tones of an image. If you cast your eyes along the top line of the waveform here, from left to right, which is the whites and highlights section, we can see that it flags up a section of significant white in the upper right of the waveform. This corresponds to the white light on the TV monitor here, on the video image. If you cast your eyes along the bottom line, from right to left, which is the blacks and shadows section, we can see that it flags up a significant section of black in the lower left portion of the waveform. This corresponds to the black leather sofa here on the video image. Your first aim when it comes to colour correcting an image is to look at the YC Waveform Monitor and gauge if you have a good tonal range in the image. Now, although there is a colour cast on this image, the waveform is telling us that there is a good tonal range in the image. We know this because the black leather sofa is on the bottom black shadows line here, and the white from the TV monitor is on the top white highlights line here. If they were away from these lines, we'd know that we had some colour correction work to do, as it would mean that the blacks were not fully black and the whites were not fully white. And if they aren't, it means that the image does not have a good tonal range. And in an image, good tonal range means that that which is supposed to be black should be black, that which is supposed to be white should be white. And if they're not, it means that the image does not have a good tonal range, and therefore we've got some colour correction work to do. And we'll tackle that in the next tutorial. Okay folks, thanks for listening.